I did feel that, and by the same token, I felt very intrigued the moment the orderly entered the scene. I said, "Wow, that's a very, very unusual character. What is he doing?" So you have three iterations of a character here. Henry, one, and Wagner. Was that a bit confusing? I mean, to keep them all straight. And which one do you think was the one that did it for you? Allowed you to get into the character's frame of mind?
You also had 3 engagement fees, didn't you?
Yes, exactly. Yes, exactly. 3 characters, darling. That's 3 times the money, love.
Oh, I wish.
Yeah, yes. For me, I mean, what I really, really enjoyed was the end of 7, that 10-page monologue where Henry is presenting himself as his truest form. Everything that he believes, his whole belief system is out there, and he's giving it to 11. It was what I found really enjoyable, obviously, is this belief system that he has is not something that just appears and pops up in episode 7. This is something that he has had since he was a child, given his experience with his father and his mother. You know, his father went away to war and effectively murdered civilians. He comes home and he's trying to present himself as this sort of upstanding citizen, you know, and somebody who sort of should reintegrate into society very well and be sort of deemed a hero almost. And that, for Henry, doesn't sit very well with him at all, obviously, when he was able to see into his father's mind. So that sort of like burning feeling of the world is a lie, people are presenting a false version of themselves, is something that is carried through for Henry, you know, from the beginning of time almost with him. So when we meet him at the beginning of 5, you know, his experience is very much that he's had to survive in this environment with Dr. Brenner. So in order to survive, he's had to blanket this rage, this resentment, this inner feeling to be able to stop, you know, being hurt almost. And so when 11 releases him and frees him, he's much more at peace and at ease because that fear is gone. The idea that Brenner is controlling him is gone now because he can't control him because he's stronger than Brenner. And then when Elle sends him to the Upside Down, all hope is lost, you know, any chance of him kind of having a sort of more normal life is removed, and so that ultimately all that's left is he's left to stew in this place of isolation again, much as when he was a child, with the resentment, with this just absolute hatred, and it compounds his belief system that he's already had. So every experience that he's had in his life, you know, it's confirmation bias almost. So did I find it confusing? No, I found it really enjoyable to have that inner truth in there all the time, and then just put a little bit of a dome over the top of it when I'm speaking to 11, when I'm kind of presenting myself to her, and there are these moments where I hope that there's this like flash of kind of rage that comes out, even in Friendly Orderly. It's just in the eyes, and it's just very slight. So
it's interesting because in the beginning you don't know that either Eddie or the orderly are going to be key characters in the story, and you sort of realize it as your act goes on, as things progress. So is it fun to elicit, you know, this kind of reaction from the audience, to seduce the audience bit by bit, as you know?
I guess there's something quite satisfying in kind of an awareness that the character that you play has a pretty kind of substantial effect on the overall narrative of the show, and there's something quite gratifying about that kind of happening and kind of not ruining it. You know? Yeah, what was the question?
Seduction. Seducing the audience.
Is it nice to seduce an audience? Yeah, it's lovely. What do you think?
Darling, it's lovely to be seduced. Just one final point on that. I think for me, you know, I wasn't necessarily concerned about the audience's reaction, but more so Millie's response to it, and the seduction it sounds weird saying seduction, but we're talking intellectually here, so that's okay.
Yes.
This seduction of kind of drawing her in and allowing her to, forcing her to trust him enough so that he can do what he needs her to do. It's a joy. It's so manipulative, but it's so much fun.
Well, that's what actors live for,
Yeah,
isn't it?
exactly.
We're manipulative, but we're so much fun.
Yeah.
Yes, you are. Yes, you are.
Thank you so much. It was such
It was
a
really
pleasure.
lovely.